Welcome, Fantasizers. This is your Big Fat Fantasy back with the second episode for you. I'm Anthony Bravo.
And I am Nicholas Logan. First of all, me and my partner here just want to apologize for the delay with our first episode. We are new to this whole YouTube thing, so we had some, post issues with the editing. We had camera issues,
We're back. We're here to give you the authentic content on time. And we're pretty much just going to start it off by doing the upper half of our tier list, the last half of B, all of A, and then we're going to finish it off with S tier.
Yeah, so like I said, we're going to finish off with tier B. So last time we left off with the Chiefs. Today we will start it off with the Jets. So let's get right into it. The New York Jets starting off in tier B. First of all, their quarterback, Zach Wilson. He did have a bad start last year. His first 5 starts, he had 4 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, got injured, and then came back, finished the season pretty strong he had to finish strong considering what he did in his first 5 starts. So in 7 starts to finish the season, he had 5 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. So 2 more starts, but only 1 more touchdown. But with 2 more starts, he had 7 less interceptions. So not particularly good, but he did finish as the QB 12 from weeks 12 to 18. And I know the argument, well, some teams don't play their quarterback the last week of the season. So if that's your argument, well, from weeks 11 to week 17, he was the QB 11. So he moved up a spot during those weeks. And they did get a lot younger. I mean, they are young. They had Zach Wilson last year. They had Elijah Moore. This year, they brought in everyone's favorite running back of the draft in Breece Hall from Iowa State. Just an absolute monster in college. In his 3 years there, over 4,600 total yards, averaged 5.5 yards per carry, 50 rushing touchdowns, 6 receiving touchdowns. So he's going to fit right in there. I know they had Michael Carter last year, but Breece Hall should be able to take over that role. Even early on in the season, they'll probably use Michael Carter more as a receiving type running back.
Yeah, kind of like James White back in the Patriot days.
Exactly. So he might be that receiving guy. Breece Hall is going to get those touches. So look for Breece Hall. He's going like in the 3rd, 4th round in redraft leagues, probably going 1st or 2nd in Dynasty, but it should be fit right in there in the Jets. I know they like him. Everyone likes him. And the receiving core, also another young receiving core. The wide receiver 1, Elijah Moore, they said he's already established himself this training camp. So look for him early. They did bring in Garrett Wilson with the 10th overall pick last year. That Wilson connection should be something to look for as long as Zach Wilson can get going. And they still have Corey Davis there. He's had some injury issues in the past, but he said he's lost 10 to 15 pounds. He feels faster. He feels stronger. And he has good size. So I'm not that big of a Corey Davis fan just because he is behind Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson. But he could be a big red zone target. He is 6'3", Elijah Moore 5'10", Garrett Wilson 6 feet. So could be a red zone guy as long as he stays healthy. And they did bring in 2 tight ends this year in CJ Uzomah. He was the 19th ranked tight end last year for the Cincinnati Bengals. And they brought in Tyler Conklin, the 16th ranked tight end last year for the Vikings, coming in on a 3-year deal. They're saying he's having an amazing camp right now. So he might be the starter. They need a tight end. I know Chris Herndon didn't work out when he was there. So it's going to be one of them. It could be either or. I'm not high on either of them in drafting them early, but you could get them late. But yeah, young team. A lot of promise in the future and a lot of fantasy appeal, in my opinion, for this coming season.
Yeah, definitely. With those 2 tight ends, they definitely could be running like 2 tight end sets for some offensive plays as well.
Yeah, especially if they're running the ball with Breece Hall.
Yeah,
they're gonna have a lot of they have a lot of options there.
Yeah, so definitely.
It's gonna be a fun offense. I know Jets fans have been waiting for something like this. So young team. I know they did lose their one of their top linemen and McKay Becton. He didn't play last season or played 1 game, got injured. Probably not going to play this year. So I know that's a big blow to that offense, but nonetheless, a lot of weapons.
Yeah, a lot to look forward to in New York. Moving on to our next team, which is the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers, I'm gonna start it off with their main guy, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to be Aaron Rodgers. I expect him to be a top 10 QB, nothing less. Only problem is he doesn't really have many options to throw to this year. He has Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Robert Tonyan, and Christian Watson and Robert Tonyan are both on PUP right now. They do have Lazard. I'm not big of a fan of Lazard.
I'm not either. Yeah.
I don't really see much fantasy appeal in Lazard. I would rather take my chances on Watson or definitely Romeo Doubs and Robert Tonyan when he gets healthy. I think those guys are going to see a lot of the passing targets. But this team is mainly on the B tier team because their backs are just they're nice. They got AJ Dillon, probably the second best backup next to Javonte, and then they got Aaron Jones, who's just he gets a lot of target shares. He gets a lot of fantasy points. Was ranked number 10 last year. AJ Dillon was ranked number 23, which is amazing as a backup. And if I were to pick one of them, give me A.J. Dillon. I think he could come out with the lead back role at the end of the year. And, that's pretty much it. Fun fact, all Green Bay wide receivers combined make $20.4 million. And if you combine all their salaries, that would be enough to be the 12th highest paid receiver.
Wow. So, yeah.
A lot of rookies, a lot of questions in the wide receiver room in Green Bay, but they got Aaron Rodgers, so
yeah,
I feel like that guy can make a lot happen with what he has.
Yeah, they went wide receiver friendly in the draft. No, Christian Watson went early. Probably went early in a lot of rookie drafts. But I mean, my favorite's Romeo Doubs.
Yeah, like
not
Romeo
being biased,
Doubs.
he's on my team. But I mean, Aaron Rodgers said every practice he's getting that one explosive play that he's just like, wow, like who is this guy?
Yeah.
If Aaron Rodgers is saying that about a rookie,
yeah,
it's just something to look out for.
You got backup Jordan Love throwing dimes to him too. I've seen a training camp video today of Romeo Doubs absolutely mossing a defender from a pass from Jordan Love.
Yeah,
not Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love.
Yeah, definitely. Those backs though, they're gonna be going early, back to back.
Yeah, definitely.
So next up on our list, the Baltimore Ravens. Starting off with Lamar Jackson. I know last year he had a little ankle injury, missed some games. But he's bulked up this offseason. They're saying he looks sharp, better than ever coming into this season. He's going to run the ball, but they're talking about his sharpness in terms of throwing the ball. And he did lose his one of his best friends, his wide receiver one, Marquise Brown. But he does like Rashad Bateman. The team likes Bateman. He did miss some time this preseason. But I'm sorry, he did miss some time in practice, but he's ready for the preseason. And that's going to be their wide receiver one. That spot's wide open for the taking. They don't even have a wide receiver two over there in Baltimore right now. It's just Rashad Bateman, and then is it Devin Duvernay? Is it James Proush? Who is it going to be? We don't know, but we do know that it's going to be Mark Andrews getting most of the targets, even with Bateman there. Mark Andrews, the tight end one last year. He is going to finish around that same, if not tight end one, tight end two. I don't see him falling below that. They're going to run him out there a lot. And another guy to look out for, Isaiah Likely. I know they don't have a second receiver on that team really, but if anything, they have a second tight end and Isaiah Likely. Mark Andrews even said it himself. He says he's similar to how the way I play this, similar to the, he sees a lot of similarities in the Isaiah Likely. So something to look out for late in drafts. If they do run a double tight end set out there, or if anything happens to Andrews, it's going to be likely. And their running backs, J.K. Dobbins coming off an ACL tear, but he's healthy now. I think he's going to have a big bounce back year. He was the RB21 his rookie year in 2020, despite getting less running attempts than Gus Edwards. J.K. Dobbins, 134 rushing attempts. Gus Edwards had 144 that year, but he still finished as the RB21. Gus Edwards probably won't be on the roster come the first week of the season. They said he might be on the PUP list and might miss a few games. So look out for Dobbins. Did average 6 yards per carry his rookie year, which is just outstanding. And even with Lamar Jackson outrushing the both of them 2 years ago with both of them healthy, I just think they're going to take a lot of weight off Lamar Jackson's shoulders and just kind of put it on Dobbins as he comes in and he's going to be that RB1 over there. So a lot of fantasy appeal with the quarterback, tight end, running back, and of course, like I said, Bateman. So they all have that guys that are going to be going early in drafts.
Yeah, so Ravens definitely a team to look out for. That brings me to the Dolphins. Dolphins are one of my more favorite teams. Tua could either be a QB1 by the end of the year, or he can be jobless. I say this because the Dolphins have given him all the tools to succeed. With the Teron Armstead signing, one of the best offensive linemen in the game if he's healthy. They added Tyreek Hill to the wide receiver room. And with all these additions, I can tell you I really expect nothing less than top 10 for Tua. I traded for him in Dynasty because I believe this will be a top 5 offense in the NFL. But the main factor is, Tua. It's how he performs. Reasons I think Tua is going to be a QB1 this year is he's finally healthy. He has the best supporting cast he's probably ever going to have in his life. Offensive line has improved drastically, and the offensive scheme they're running fits his play style. Right now, Underdog has Tua at the quarterback 17, and I think he's most likely to be a quarterback 1. Quarterback 17, a 12-man league, of course, is the quarterback 2. I think he's most likely to turn into quarterback 1. So definitely top 12 potential. If all goes well, Tyreek and Waddle are definitely going to be very valuable assets to your fantasy team. And, yeah, they could definitely even be your league winners. My only concern is at running back. They got Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, and Sonny Michel. Chase Edmonds kind of lost his job in Arizona last year. He became the backup, finished ranked RB 34. But if you could snag him around his ADP, which is 93, I would definitely take the risk. High risk, high reward, as they say.
Yeah, definitely. I do like the Dolphins and what they should be able to bring to the table this year. I know they're in a tough division, a lot of young quarterbacks in that division, but a lot of promise too. They brought in Tyreek Hill for a reason, so
it's all up to Tua.
Yeah, another team that I think is even similar to the Dolphins. Next up on our Tier B list, actually last up on our Tier B list, is the Philadelphia Eagles. First off, they do have the number 1 ranked O-line in the league, no matter where you look. So from that perspective, they should have a big offensive season, starting with one of my favorite players in the league, Jalen Hurts. I absolutely love Jalen Hurts. I loved him in college, whether that was at Bama or Oklahoma. I'm a big Jalen Hurts stan. I think he's going to have a big season as a second-year starter this year. I know he had the accuracy issues last year and all that. They said he couldn't throw the ball. He's just a runner. But I think his confidence level and where he stands, he's just going to get better and better. And they're already seeing it in practice. And he has a new weapon now in A.J. Brown. Last year, his best receiver was a rookie in Devontae Smith. Now he has A.J. Brown. Now he has Smith. He has Goddard. And the best offensive line, so you can only get better. I mean, it's hard to be that good in completing the passes when Jalen Reagor is your number 2 guy, or Quez Watkins or Greg Ward, someone like that. So if you can move a guy that won the Heisman, only the 4th receiver ever to win the Heisman, and now he's your wide receiver 2, I mean, that's a lot of promise. Jalen Hurts did want A.J. Brown there. He's the one that told the Philadelphia front office to get A.J. Brown, trade for him. They brought him in, and so far in practice, that's been his favorite target in A.J. Brown. You've seen what he did in Tennessee. Just an absolute stud, only 25 years old, so he's still young. They're going to have a lot of explosiveness with those 2 receivers. And Devontae Smith, I like to call him the Heisman honcho, and A.J. Brown. And the running back situation, I know Miles Sanders last year didn't score a touchdown, just insane. I doubt he even does that again. I mean, that'd be super hard not to even score a touchdown, especially behind that offensive line. But they also do like Kenneth Gainwell there. I like Kenneth Gainwell. I'd rather get him later in drafts than get Miles Sanders in the 6th, 5th round early in drafts. They already said that he's prepped up for like a bigger role this year in higher leverage situations. He did have a little hip injury. They haven't gotten much into that, but a big sleeper in my opinion. He could be a good backup, especially within the 10-yard line. If Sanders is running the ball, and once they get into that red zone, they might hand it off to Gainwell like they did last year with Boston Scott. So something to look out for. And like I mentioned earlier, tight end Dallas Goedert. I think he's going to be a late steal this year. I can see him finishing top 5, anywhere between 5 to 10 in the tight ends. So just look out for Goddard. He's going to be there. He's now their main tight end. No more Zach Ertz. He's been gone. So look for that. I know I'm a Cowboys fan, but I do like the Eagles a lot. Definitely a lot of promise there, and still a young team. So a lot of fantasy appeal. Just a team that I like.
Definitely similar to the Dolphins, like you were saying. So that's going to bring us to our A tier list, the start of our A tier list. We're going to start this off with the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins, definitely a good quarterback to pick up once you have all your running back and wide receiver spots filled. I definitely think he will finish as a top 15 quarterback this year because he has Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, probably the best dynasty receiver to get right now, and even probably the best redraft receiver to get right now as well. If I can't get a top 4 running back in redraft, with Dalvin Cook being one of them, I'm going Justin Jefferson, man. Definitely drafting Justin Jefferson at the 105. And then he has Thielen right next to him and Irv Smith. I feel like this team could make a nice leap if everyone stays healthy. Dalvin Cook, top 4 pick in redraft, without a doubt. My only tip is if you're going Dalvin Cook, you need Alexander Mattison as your handcuff for sure, because once Dalvin goes down, Mattison getting all the touches, all of them. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this team. I'm really high on Irv Smith. Just hope he can stay healthy.
Yeah, no, definitely. And they already said they're going to throw the ball a lot more to take a lot of that load off of Dalvin Cook. And even if they're throwing the ball a lot, Dalvin Cook's one of the best PPR running backs. Justin Jefferson, Thielen, you named them all.
Yeah.
It's going to be a whole new scheme there in Minnesota. So
definitely.
Yeah, moving on to our next team in Tier A, the Raiders. Starting off with quarterback Derek Carr. He's always finished a top 20 quarterback in fantasy. And he got paid this year. I know that was the big thing. But he got his contract, 3 years, $121.5 million. Has a new head coach and a new weapon in that wide receiver room. His college teammate, Davante Adams. They did go to Cal State Fresno together, and they just put the College Nation on fire. They set it on fire. In 2013, Derek Carr led the nation in completions, passing yards, and passing touchdowns. And his favorite target, of course, was Davante Adams, who led the nation in receptions and receiving touchdowns and finished second in receiving yards in a program that's not a big college football program, but they were that good that they were both drafted in the second round after that following year. So now they're back together in the NFL. I know Derek Carr said it. It's obvious. The NFL is different. But like I said, with the new head coach there, offensive-friendly head coach, and Josh McDaniels, Raiders are going to be something to watch this year. They, even Hunter Renfrow was a little sleeper wide receiver last year, finished in the top 12. Now he has Adams there to take the pressure off of him to get open more, especially in the red zone. You've seen the little videos of his little 5-yard routes, 10-yard routes that he runs. That's going to get him a lot of red zone targets, even with Adams there. So 2 really good receivers with a lot of fantasy appeal. Just hoping that Darren Waller can stay healthy. I'm a big Darren Waller fan. Was the 6th ranked tight end last year, and he missed a game. And that was before he missed 5 more games later on in the season. He's still missing some time. They're saying it's an injury. Some people are saying it's a contract issue. But either way, he is missing some time right now. But if healthy, he should finish in the top 5 of tight ends, a guy I like a lot. Even with the better receiving core now in Davante Adams and Hunter Renfrow, who proved himself last year, I still think Waller is going to be one of Derek Carr's favorite targets. Just something to look out for the Raiders is their running back situation. You know how Josh McDaniels did in New England. It's going to be a committee. It's not maybe. It's going to be a committee. Josh Jacobs last year there. They'll probably run him the most. But they also have Kenyon Drake coming back from injury. They drafted Zamir White, a running back from Georgia. And you know those Georgia running backs, DeAndre Swift, Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, how good they do in fantasy. So I think they'll probably start off a lot with Josh Jacobs to run the ball, Kenyon Drake to receive it. And then later on in the season, Zamir White just might come in and take that starting role and some touch, especially with Jacobs. He's had some injuries the last couple of years and his few seasons in the NFL. So look out for Zamir White late. But either way, it's going to be a committee. Even if they're all healthy, they're still going to have a three-headed monster at running back. So just look out for that. The receivers are what you want to target early, the tight end, Derek Carr in the mid-rounds. But, yeah, if you're going to get a running back, just get ready for those handcuffs there in Oakland.
Yeah, man, that kid Zamir White definitely looks like an angry kid. Yeah, they got him going at the RB63 right now. I'm definitely taking him around RB50 range. He's I feel like he could lock that job up, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of questions in that receiver running back room right now. I mean, Raider running back room.
Yeah, for sure.
But brings us to our next team, the Denver Broncos, keeping it in the AFC West. This is a super sleeper team, in my opinion, because you can make an argument that every offensive position on this team will benefit you fantasy-wise. You got Russell Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. You had Tim Patrick, but you lost him to a torn ACL injury. And then I don't know if anyone's heard of KJ Hamler, but this kid's really nice, man. He had over 1,600 receiving yards in college, 13 receiving touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdowns just in 2 years at Penn State. That's pretty good to me, man. Like, if you give me him as my wide receiver 3 all day. Yeah. Not to mention they got Albert O. I really don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm not going to try to pronounce it on live.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to call him Albert O. All you guys should know who Albert O is. He's, according to training camp reports, he's doing everything on offense. So definitely a very nice sleeper tight end to look after. And then you got Javonte, man. Javonte, he could be the next JT.
Yeah, for sure.
He has Gordon behind him, but I definitely see him eating up more of the touches this year. I don't remember the last time Russell Wilson had this much help, man. So I feel like this is definitely a sleeper team. You could definitely make an argument that this team could even be an S-tier team. We just got to see it. We just got to see him on the field.
Yeah, all it takes is one couple weeks for that team to for that tier list to change, and they'll be an S-tier.
Definitely. Gonna do a little back-to-back here. Gonna talk about the next team on our tier list, which is the Arizona Cardinals. Start this off with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, top 6 quarterback ever since he was drafted. Number 6 quarterback his rookie year. Number 3 quarterback his second year. And then he was number 10 in his third year, but he missed 2 games. So take your chances on the kid. He could run. He could throw. He could win you in fantasy championship, you know. This guy's a fantasy point machine. He has a great wide receiver team. He has DeAndre Hopkins, who is suspended, but, you know, when he comes back, he's going to eat. Got Hollywood Brown, Rondale Moore, A.J. Green. So I like that wide receiver room. Definitely a lot of, you know, ways to go.
You got the youth,
passing
you got
the ball.
Vets.
You got James Conner, who also had a bounce-back season last year, number 5 running back. Definitely happy for him, man. I remember a lot of people were fading James Conner going into last season. So
Chase Edmonds was our starting running back to start the season,
and then he lost his job, just like I was talking about earlier.
He's in a whole other team, and city.
And Zach Ertz, one of the safest tight end picks in my opinion, if healthy. Since 2016, Zach Ertz has never been ranked below the number 6 tight end in PPR. Except in the 2020 year where he was his final year with the Eagles. He had an injury-plagued year. But other than that, man, like, this guy is always producing. They drafted that Trey McBride, who had 1,100 receiving yards in his last year at Colorado State. So that's another team that could be running 2 tight end sets for all we know. But I like this team a lot for Kyler Murray, man. There's definitely so many options to just throw the ball. So definitely a good team for me.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, James Conner, to run the ball, they have a lot of receivers. Just an absolutely stacked team over there in Arizona.
Definitely.
Kyler Murray was the favorite MVP race the first, 10, 12 weeks of the season.
Didn't they have the best record in the NFL or something?
Yeah.
Last year,
he was favored to win MVP, and then all of a sudden he kind of fell off a little bit towards the end.
Yeah, towards the end, yeah.
I mean, that's an MVP caliber type player, and the weapons are there. So
definitely, I'm sure he's glad he skipped baseball, went to football.
Yeah, and he got that contract too finally.
Yeah.
So, moving on to our next team, my team, the Dallas Cowboys, starting off with quarterback Dak Prescott, always a top fantasy quarterback. I know he hurt his ankle not too long ago, a couple years ago, but he's in great shape this offseason. They said they might even run him more. That's how good of shape he's in right now. And Dak Prescott used to run his early years in the NFL, and they're trying to get him back to doing that again. So that's going to open up the offense a lot. They still have Zeke Elliott there, Dak Prescott's best friend. Missed some games in 2017 when he got suspended, but he still finished top 13. Other than that, every other season Zeke has been in the league. He's been a top 10 running back. Even last year when he had the knee injury, he was still a top 10 running back. So I like Zeke. Every year in fantasy, he's going the first 2 rounds in redraft leagues. First round even in redraft leagues. This year he might even slip to the 3rd, 4th round because of his age now and the injury concerns. But they said he looks good, and they're going to run him there as long as Prescott's the quarterback. The O-line's still good. They said he's going to be their main running back. More even so that they are putting Tony Pollard in the slot now. So it's going to be Zeke's backfield for the most part. Of course, are going to run Pollard, probably one of the top 5 backups right now in the NFL. He's fast, he's quick, he has hands, he's efficient when he runs the ball whenever he gets those chances. If you're drafting Zeke, I strongly recommend you getting Pollard too. You can even have them both start a week, especially if they're going to put Pollard in the slot, because right now the Cowboys are kind of thin on wide receivers behind CeeDee Lamb. My favorite player in the NFL, I know I just talked about Jalen Hurts, but CeeDee Lamb is ahead of Hurts in so many ways. I just love CeeDee Lamb. I was so happy when the Cowboys drafted him. I thought he was going to be the best receiver in that draft no matter where he went, and everyone talks highly about him. Calvin Johnson, the Megatron, he's already said CeeDee Lamb's his favorite young receiver for the way he catches the ball with his hands, the way he runs the ball, his speed, his size, everything. Amari Cooper, who they traded to Cleveland, even said that CeeDee Lamb's ready to take over that wide receiver room, to be the leader of that team. He knows he's ready to step in and take control mostly of that offense, where Amari Cooper was CeeDee's first 2 years, took a lot of targets away, took a lot of plays from him, but CeeDee Lamb is ready to go, and I'm excited. I can't wait to see him. CeeDee Lamb, if it's a dynasty league, I put him in the same tier with Jefferson and Chase. I know obviously everyone's going to say JJ, everyone's going to say Chase, but CeeDee Lamb should be the 3rd receiver going in dynasty leagues. He's going to be the main guy they're going to throw to. He's still young. Just has an extreme talent, young kid from Oklahoma. And they did bring in another young receiver, Jalen Tolbert. High praises all around camp. I haven't heard one bad thing about the kid. He's building chemistry with Dak. He should step right in week 1 and be the wide receiver 2. James Washington, he's out for the next 6 to 10 weeks, they're saying. Michael Gallup might miss some time to start the season. He tore his ACL at the end last year. I know Gallup, they're saying he's taking some reps and stuff, but I don't think the Cowboys will rush him back. But Michael Gallup, a great stash in any fantasy league, because as soon as he comes back and he's healthy, the Cowboys are going to throw him right in there. He's big red zone target. Even if he's the wide receiver 3, if Tolbert takes off those first few weeks, Gallup has been the wide receiver 3 pretty much his whole career since being on Dallas, so he's going to have some fantasy appeal. He's always a guy that gets picked up on waivers or drafted late in rounds. I can't see anything different this year. And, of course, they do have tight end Dalton Schultz, top 3 tight end last year. Probably wasn't drafted in really any leagues. Probably a guy you picked up on waivers midseason. I think Blake Jarwin was the main tight end on that depth chart last year before Schultz just took it from him. Yeah. And I know he's going to be playing on a franchise tag this year. He couldn't get the contract worked out, but I can see them locking him in. They had the franchise player, Jason Witten. He was a tight end, so Schultz is I like Dalton Schultz, and there's going to be a lot of targets to open targets over there that he can get, so definitely I'm excited about that.
Yeah, you were talking about CeeDee Lamb. I think he definitely has league-winning upside, man. That guy's definitely with Amari Cooper gone, he's going to be receiving so many targets that it's going to be insane. So definitely look for CeeDee Lamb in your drafts. Brings us to the Rams. The Rams, We were having a discussion. They could definitely be an S tier team. They have a super stacked offense. The only question I have is if Cam Akers can come onto the field and produce like he did in the 2020 playoffs. In the 2020 playoffs, he ran for 221 yards and 2 touchdowns in just 2 playoff games. So, if he stays healthy and produces efficient numbers, I have no problem with this team in my S tier list. Matt Stafford finally leaves Detroit, gets a ring. Easily a top 10 quarterback coming into 2022. Has Kupp coming off one of the most incredible seasons for a wide receiver I've ever seen, literally in NFL history. And he got a little upgrade. He had OBJ, but I feel like Allen Robinson is a bit of an upgrade over OBJ.
Yeah.
They're saying he's learning the playbook really fast, and I definitely see him eating up a lot of targets. Cooper Kupp shouldn't fall out of the top 5. He should definitely remain in the top 5, and I see Allen Robinson top 15, top 10.
Yeah.
I'm not too high on Van Jefferson. He wasn't super productive in college. I'm more higher on Tutu Atwell. 70 receptions, 1,200 yards, and 12 total touchdowns only in his sophomore year at Louisville. Man, if Van Jefferson goes down, I'll take my chance on Tutu as my wide receiver 3 for sure.
Van Jefferson, they're saying might not even be ready for week 1.
Yeah. So Tutu might be even out there week 1. You never know. Tyler Higbee isn't my favorite tight end. I wouldn't draft him if it wasn't to be my backup tight end. It was ranked 14 last year. So other than the tight end, man, this offense is nice, dude. Definitely could be S tier without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, if Cam Akers can produce like he did in the playoffs a couple years ago, if AR can get back to his form, I know he had some quarterback issues last year in Chicago, but I just that offense has
definitely S tier potential.
Yeah, and they definitely have a very good chance of going back to the Super Bowl even.
Yeah, definitely.
And another team that a lot of people are saying has a lot of Super Bowl potential. Next up on our A tier, the Indianapolis Colts. They did bring in a new quarterback, upgraded in the quarterback position in Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, you know what he did in Atlanta, future Hall of Famer. The numbers weren't so good towards the end of his tenure in Atlanta, but he really had no weapons, had no offensive line. Now he's going to a team with one of the best offensive lines in the league. They're already saying he's taking over that offense. He's being a real leader. He's coming in. He looks comfortable. He looks good. They are very happy with Matt Ryan right now in Indianapolis. A guy I would get in the mid to late rounds as a guy who can finish top 10 in the quarterback position in fantasy. And, of course, if you have Jonathan Taylor there running the ball, it opens up the offense for your receivers to throw the ball for play action, all that stuff. I mean, obviously, not going to talk too much about Jonathan Taylor. He's going to go first in mostly every redraft league. If he's not first, he's going second. If he slips to third, I would love to be in that league. Please put me in that league, please. So I'm not going to talk too much about Taylor. He's going top in Dynasty League. You know how Jonathan Taylor is. You know what he's going to do when he's on the field. Draft Jonathan Taylor, that's it. And another guy you should draft too, Michael Pittman. 3rd year, I think he's going to have a breakout year. We just talked about Carson Wentz and how he kind of struggled last year. Michael Pittman still put over 1,000 yards, still had 6 touchdowns and 88 receptions. I was just good enough to be the 17th ranked wide receiver in fantasy. The wide receiver 1, it's his. They love Pittman. Matt Ryan's already building a connection with Michael Pittman. So draft Michael Pittman. I think he's going to finish very high this year. Definitely better than 17 this year, for sure. And right now, they don't have another wide receiver, too. They were saying Paris Campbell earlier in training camp, but now they're saying he's injured again. He's had the injuries his first 2 years. Now he's saying he's injured again. He can't get on the field. So the wide receiver 2 role is wide open for rookie Alec Pierce. He's now taking first-team reps. They like Pierce. I like Pierce. I'm drafting him over Campbell any day. Even if Campbell's healthy and's been healthy, I'm getting Alec Pierce over Campbell. I'm not drafting Paris Campbell unless it's maybe the last round. I'll draft Paris Campbell. And then at the tight end spot, one of Matt Ryan's favorite positions to throw to. It's Mo Alley Cox right now. He was injured a little bit, but he's back at practice, back on the field. You know, Matt Ryan loves those tight ends. He had Austin Hooper a couple years ago. Kyle Pitts, 1,000-yard tight end guy last year. So Wiley Cox, I know a lot of people probably don't know the name. Not a lot of fantasy appeal, but hey, if Matt Ryan needs another receiver, it could just be that tight end spot. I know they drafted Jelani Woods in the 3rd round, but could be a late stash in dynasty leagues. Not a lot of redraft appeal, especially with the news coming out of camp that he's kind of been struggling big time. So, yeah, a team that I like a lot, especially, like I said, Taylor, Pittman, both going to finish, I think, running back 1, wide receiver 1. Matt Ryan should be a wide receiver, quarterback 1. It's just I like the Colts. They should definitely win that division this year.
Definitely,
for sure.
Definitely. They got Matt Ryan going as the QB 21.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. I feel like he could definitely be top 15 status for sure.
Yeah. So that will finish off our tier A list. Now moving on to our last tier, the best tier. It's the S tier. These teams have the most fantasy appeal as a whole. You know what they're going to bring this year from not only a fantasy perspective, but on the NFL level perspective, what they're going to do on offense. So starting it off is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Quarterback Tom Brady still there. I know he was saying he was going to retire this year. I didn't believe the rumors, so he's coming back. Why would he retire? He was the top 3 quarterback last year in fantasy. Just insane to do at his age. He's the GOAT. If Tom Brady's there, I've never had the chance to draft Tom Brady ever. I feel like people are always getting him like 3-4 rounds earlier than his ADP. It's Tom Brady. People might say they don't like Tom Brady. They're going to draft Tom Brady. Someone's going to draft Tom Brady every time. Like I said, 3 or 4 rounds early. If you really want Tom Brady, I'd say you're going to have to reach on Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And he still has the potential to finish top 5, so really wouldn't even be a reach. All the weapons are there. Running back Leonard Fournette, I know that when camp was starting, they're saying, he was a little on the heavy side, but since then he's cut all those rumors out. They're calling him Lemon Pepper Lenny, and I think now the new name is going to be Lettuce Lenny. He's saying he's in the best shape. He said he's in the best shape. They said he looks faster, more explosive this year.
Camp standout?
Yeah, just been an absolute camp standout. And we already know the kind of guy Fournette's going to be when healthy. He's going to be a top running back in fantasy.
Yeah.
The only thing is he hasn't ever really been healthy. His only healthy year where he played every game was 2019 in Jacksonville. The only time he's played every game. So there are the injury issues. If you are drafting Fournette, I would look for Rachaad White as the backup. A lot of similarity to Leonard Fournette. He's a fast runner. He's an explosive runner. He can catch the ball. And you already know how much Tom Brady loves running backs that can catch the ball. So if Leonard goes down, Rachaad White stepping up. I know he's saying he's battling Keyshawn Vaughn. He should win out that backup role without a doubt. Look for Rachaad White. And then moving on to their wide receiver room. Absolutely crowded. Absolutely stacked. Starting with Tom Brady's favorite target, Mike Evans. A guy that I'm never really high on. I don't really draft a lot of Mike Evans, but he always finishes wide receiver 1. It's like every year he's getting crazy amount of touchdowns. He's getting 1,000 yards. Future Hall of Famer.
I think seven or eight straight 1,000-yard seasons.
Yeah,
that's insane.
And he's Tom Brady's favorite red zone target. A team that's going to score a lot this year, being your favorite red zone target. The guy has so much fantasy appeal. I like Mike Evans. I understand he's dealing with the minor hamstring injury, but that's been kind of the story the last few training camps for Mike Evans. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that.
He's going to be wide receiver 1 at the end of the year.
Yeah, and he's finished as a wide receiver 1, of course, again. Even with Chris Godwin there, a guy coming off a torn ACL. I mean, just insane that he's even back at practice taking reps on that team. They're already saying he might even be ready for week 1. I don't know. I don't think the Bucs will rush him back because of how stacked that wide receiver room is. But if he said he's ready and he wants to get on that field, they will put him out there on that field. I like Chris Godwin. I know sometimes people might even take him over Mike Evans, a little younger. Now, if Chris Godwin's ready to go week 1, he's going to have a big season this year. And then they also brought in Russell Gage. Not a guy with a lot of fantasy appeal, really, but between week 7 to week 18 last year, he was the 17th ranked wide receiver between those weeks on the Atlanta Falcons last year. So
he was the only guy on the Falcons. So.
Exactly. So he was sharing targets with Kyle Pitts, and it was Russell Gage. They brought him in, and they're saying they're very impressed with how he's handled training camp and the way he's handled the playbook. They were saying he was going to be the wide receiver 2 to start the year, but Chris Godwin's now back. And then they brought in Julio Jones. So the new addition there. Of course, he's had the injuries the last 2 years. He is on the wrong side of 30, so that's kind of been the main reason. But they're saying he looks healthy. I mean, I've seen the pictures of him. He just looks...
I've seen the videos.
Yeah, he looks absolutely incredible. And he's on a new team now and playing with, playing in a crowded wide receiver room.
The dude that took his ring, playing with the man that stole his ring.
Hey,
28-3. Crazy.
If you can't beat him, join him. I like Julio Jones, especially where his ADP is. I'm getting Julio Jones late, definitely.
Definitely.
He could
wide receiver 62 right now on Underdog.
Yeah, he could see a lot of sets on that goal line too. So he just needs to be healthy. But that's kind of the story. I mean, like I said, Mike Evans right now battling a hamstring injury. Chris Godwin coming off an ACL tear. Russell Gage now has an injured leg. And Julio Jones has the injuries the last 2 years. So they're all kind of injured. But, hey, if you can run a 4 wide receiver set, bring one in, bring one out, take a lot of pressure away from other guys, let them get some rest. It's going to be an explosive offense. All those 4 guys, they're all getting drafted. All those receivers. Their running backs can get drafted. The quarterback. The only position that's kind of up for grabs, even with Gronk retiring, is the tight end spot. I know they still have Cameron Bratt there. They brought in Kyle Rudolph. I'm not taking any of them as a tight end one, not even a backup tight end. But, hey, maybe you can get them as a streamer tight end 1 week. We'll see. But
they have that new guy, Cade Otton, too, no?
Oh, do they?
I think so.
As a tight end, I'm not sure, but he's playing behind those guys. But look for those receivers,
also,
look for those backs and those not quarterback, of course.
I feel like any injury that happens to Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, like Julio Jones will step into that wide receiver 2 role right away.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of toys to play with on this Buccaneers team for sure.
I mean, even with Bruce Arians gone, I still think they're gonna be a top offensive.
For sure.
team.
For sure. So brings me to my favorite team, Los Angeles Chargers. Man, oh man, what could I say about this team? My opinion, one of the most complete teams in the NFL. Upgraded at O-line. PFF has us ranked as the 12th best O-line. I remember last year we were in the wrong side of the 20s. And every year before that we've been, 20 or below. So definitely a good thing to have an upgraded O-line. We upgraded our defense. We traded for Khalil Mack, and we signed J.C. Jackson. Also brought in Isaiah Spiller in the draft to help out Eckler, so he's not getting banged up on every play. And, Justin Herbert, dude. What could I say about Justin Herbert? In my opinion, Justin Herbert is right behind Josh Allen for the best quarterback in the league. I think he even has a chance to surpass Josh Allen this year. That offense is looking real juicy, man. Real juicy. Eckler, number 2 running back, right behind Jonathan Taylor. With the added help of Spiller, he should see a slight cut into his workload, but it shouldn't be too drastic year 1. Wide receiver duo of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, easily a top wide receiver duo in my opinion. We also have Gerald Everett, sign him to a nice 2-year deal. Upgrade at the tight end position for me because we had Jared Cook last year, and I don't even remember what he did last year.
Jared Cook used to be like a top tight end in fantasy.
A nice red zone option.
Yeah.
Didn't see a lot of red zone options last year for sure. And also, this is also another team that I think every position on this team can benefit your fantasy team for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna. Just like the Chargers, I feel like the Cincinnati Bengals, the next team on our tier list, have very similar rosters. Nice young quarterback in Joe Burrow was the quarterback 7 last year. Could easily move into top 5 with all the weapons around him. I said Mike Williams and Keenan Allen were a top receiver duo, but a top dynasty receiver duo is T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, man. Either of those guys have the capability of dropping 40 bombs on any given week, and their talents can only go up from here, man. They just have so much potential, and I wouldn't have a problem drafting either one of these guys, even around their ADP. Joe Mixon, top 10 running back, 3 of the last 4 years, and he's only 26 years old, man. So if you see Joe Mixon in the second round, snag him. They also added Hayden Hurst, who's looking good in training camp. So another team, man. Any position on this team will benefit your fantasy team positively.
Yeah. And the thing with the Bengals now, they upgrade the O-line a lot.
Yeah. I saw I think they have the eighth best.
Yeah, and last year Joe Burrow,
PFF.
I think, was the top 3 most pressured quarterback in the NFL, and they still went to the Super Bowl and had a chance. Of course, they lost the Super Bowl because Joe Burrow didn't have enough time in the pocket. All he needed was an extra couple seconds. They win that Super Bowl. So
yeah. And T. Higgins went off in that Super Bowl too.
Yeah, so I mean, I know you talked about the one of the best duos, but I think they have the best wide receiver trio with Tyler Boyd as well. Yeah, not a guy that I draft a lot, but he could have some breakout weeks, you know. Yeah. Especially a guy if you're doing like FanDuel or like something, you get him for cheap. He might have like a couple touchdowns on like 3 receptions. You know what I mean?
Especially if T. Higgins or Jamar Chase go down with the injury, Tyler Boyd is gonna see.
It used to be Tyler Boyd in that offense for a while. So yeah, I do like the Bengals. I can see them getting back to the Super Bowl, but not with the Bills being in that AFC. The next team on our S tier list. The last team we're going to be talking about, the Buffalo Bills. They are the favorites to win the Super Bowl this year, and that's because they have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, Josh Allen. Going to be the quarterback one in fantasy. He's going to be the best quarterback this year in the NFL. Just an absolute stud is Josh Allen. He has the arm power. He can run. He has the accuracy. You name all the tools that you need in a quarterback, Josh Allen checks all of them. He checks everything out. I'm a big Josh Allen guy. He's going to be the first quarterback drafted in really any league I see, redrafts or dynasty, unless someone's a big like Chargers fan or Chiefs fan, then they'll probably get Mahomes or Herbert. But I'm a big Josh Allen fan. The weapons are there. They're going to be the top offense in the league again. His favorite wide receiver, obviously, is going to be Stephon Diggs again. Since joining Buffalo, he was the number 3 receiver, and then last year the number 7 receiver. So Stephon Diggs is going to be a wide receiver 1 in fantasy. And I think between any quarterback and wide receiver I just think they have the best chemistry. I mean, if you see the way they talk in interviews and the way they get along, it's like they've been friends forever, like best like friends. Brothers. Yeah, they're like brothers over there. So they just have that chemistry on and off the field, which is huge for any team that's going to try to win their first Super Bowl. So, and then I know the wide receiver 2 now is Gabe Davis. So he's going early in drafts. And the main reason for that is because of that breakout game he had last year against the Chiefs. He had 8 catches for 201 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, if that was a fantasy, if it was an NFL record, if that was a fantasy football week, someone would have been really upset on the other side going against Gabe Davis. Like, who is this Gabe Davis guy? He just torched me this week. How many fantasy points that I can't even add the numbers. That's just how crazy that stat line is. In a playoff game against the Chiefs, Stephon Diggs he only had like 3 catches for 7 yards that game. So it was Gabe Davis's game. That's the Gabe Davis breakout game. And he was the wide receiver 4 on that depth chart last year. Now he moved all the way to wide receiver 2. He's young. The coaching staff loves him. Josh Allen loves him. Just nothing but good things about Gabe Davis. I know he had no fantasy relevance the last 2 years, but he's just going to have one of the biggest jumps, I think, in fantasy. I think he's going to finish as a top 15, even top 12 receiver with Stephon Diggs. I know they have other pieces. They brought in Jamison Crowder. They have Isaiah McKenzie there. They drafted Khalil Shakur. I don't see them taking any targets away from Gabe Davis. I don't see the playbook involving much of them. It's going to involve Stephon. It's going to involve Gabe Davis, especially in that red zone. Just I just love that wide receiver duo. They have the potential to be the next best wide receiver duo. Yeah, so sure. I know we just talked about the Chargers and the Bengals, and the Bills are just right next. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of Gabe Davis. I mean, he could have a faulty year. It could just been one breakout game, and we never hear from the guy again. But if he can, he's not going to get similar numbers to what he did in that playoff game. But if he can get close to that, oh boy, that offense is going to get a lot better. And at the running back position, they did bring in James Cook this year. I know even last year, Devin Singletary was a top 20 running back. And between weeks 14 to week 18, right around that playoff push, right around those playoff times in that championship week, he was the number 2 fantasy back.
Sheesh.
Who would have thought Devin Singletary, especially with Josh Allen running as much as he did? They rarely never had a fantasy relevant running back in a while. And now this guy's finished the number 2 running back when you needed him most, right after Rashad Penny. That was a league winner. And you probably stashed him on your benched the whole season. All of a sudden, this guy's starting for you in the playoffs. So I know they did add James Cook. He might get a lot of carries taken from him, but maybe not. He'll start the season as the main back on that depth chart. They might just use James Cook as like their receiving back. But I like James Cook. I still would draft James Cook over Devin Singletary.
For sure.
I know their ADP is kind of around the same.
Yeah.
But I'm taking James Cook just a little later, even a round later than I am taking Singletary, just because in the long run, James Cook, I think he's going to take over that offense. All I have to hear, the only source I have to hear coming out of any training camp is just what Stephon Diggs said about James Cook. He said he sees a lot of the same similarities in his older brother Dalvin Cook as he does in James Cook. So he's played with both the Cooks, and he's already saying that this guy can be the next Dalvin Cook. We already know Dalvin Cook's fantasy appeal. We talked about it earlier in the show. So I like James Cook a lot. I know they're saying Zach Moss is taking some first-team reps. I'm never drafting Zach Moss. My advice is stay away from Zach Moss. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I'm not looking at Zach Moss, especially with Josh Allen's going to run the ball. It's going to be Singletary. Cook, they're going to obviously use him. They drafted him for a reason. Another Georgia running back. He's used to sharing touches like he did with Zamir White in Georgia. Last player I want to talk about is their tight end actually is Dawson Knox. He had 9 touchdowns last year. Finished as a tight end 1 last year in the fantasy. A guy, I think he's going as a 9th or 10th tight end right now.
Tight end 9.
Tight end 9. So he's at the tight end 9, but I mean, I know they have he has a lot of guys in front of him in terms of getting the ball to him, but in that red zone, especially with the Bills, how often they're going to get down in the red zone, Dawson Knox is, in my opinion, is going to be a breakout tight end.
Yeah, he's the main guy for Josh Allen, I feel like.
In that red zone. I mean, look at these stats right here. I mean, look at this red zone efficiency by Dawson Knox. Inside the 20-yard line last year, he had a 61% catch rate on 18 targets. Dawson Knox had the most targets in the red zone. He had the 19th most targets in the red zone, 61% catch rate, 18 targets. Stephon Diggs, who was second in the NFL in red zone targets, had a 56% catch rate, and he had 34 targets, 16 more targets, and Dawson Knox was way more efficient. And now if you look inside the 10-yard line, Dawson Knox had a 70% catch rate on 10 targets. Stephon Diggs, who was second in the league, had a 50% catch rate on 14 targets. So even though Stephon Diggs was getting more targets in the red zone, it was Dawson Knox who was
actually catching.
Yeah, actually scoring more in the red zone at an efficiency.
Yeah,
way better. So a team with a very high-powered offense, look for Dawson Knox. I'm a big fan of Dawson Knox.
Dawson Knox at the tight end 9 is crazy. Honestly,
that's crazy.
Easily
I don't know.
Top 5.
Yeah, I'm a big Dawson Knox.
Yeah.
I mean, my friends are probably going to be now drafting Dawson Knox right before I do, because I am looking for Dawson Knox on. I'm circling that name. I'd rather get him later than get Kelsey or Pitts early or Mark Andrews early. I'd rather get a guy like Knox later on, especially in that offense. But yeah, the Buffalo Bills, your early Super Bowl favorites. They will conclude our tier S list and our whole tier list. We brought you all 32 teams in 2 parts. Anything you want to finish with?
No, just keep a lookout for that giveaway, man. Once we hit 200 subscribers, we're going to be giving out a free jersey of your choice. Just send us a message on any social media platform, and we will select a winner once we hit 200 subscribers.
Yeah. Again, just like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on our Instagram. Follow us on our Twitter. All that information will be down below in the description. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you for the support. I love y'all.
Yeah, and again, we apologize for the video being late last time, but
we learned.
Yeah, we learned some things, so we'll try to get those videos out on time, and of course, make more videos for you guys. But we really do appreciate all the support you guys gave after that first video. It really meant a lot to us. So I felt the love, I felt the support. So thank you guys. Good luck this fantasy season. It's gonna be a fun one. So catch us on the next one.
Thank you. Have a good one.